So, a reason I really am doing this is sort of because I have a lot of conversations that I have inside of my head, and I figure there's no use in just keeping all these conversations in my head. At least the ones I feel like are, sort of worthy of discussion. There's no reason to just keep it in my head when I could get it out there and there's platforms available and there's so much content out there and there's so many people looking for more content. So even if it's just for me to look back and um just like a personal archive of conversations I want to have. This, I'm doing this for slightly selfish purposes, of course, because if I was just trying to do this for followers or viewers or, to get engagement, I would have to approach this a lot more differently. But that's why I'm doing this the way I'm doing it now, just because it's almost like free therapy in a sense. Also, when I do meet up with people that we end up talking, we're just usually talking about small talk stuff about sports or what they just did on the weekend or what they're planning to do next weekend. Most people don't want to talk about current events, and don't let them have kids. Then they're going to want to talk about their kids, and don't let them be married because then they're going to talk about their wife. I'm sorry if I'm a butthead, but I don't really care about talking about people's kids, and I don't really care about talking about other people's marriages, because I'm just not a domestic person like that. I'm like I said before, and like a lot of people know, I moved around a lot, so I can't relate to those domestic situations like that. Like I'm a very nomadic person, and nomads tend to have a more philosophical approach to life, I think, and just to everything in general. But maybe that's just me being lofty. I don't know. Let's get into what was on my mind, which was followers and leaders. We live in a time where everyone's a king, everyone's a queen, everyone is encouraged to be a leader, but no one's really told about the follower side. Everyone wants to speak, but people aren't really encouraged to listen as much. And it's funny because right now I'm speaking, but I'm only speaking because I'm following the lead of others who have spoken before. And if it wasn't for that, I probably wouldn't have thought to even speak in this kind of format if I hadn't seen other people do it. So that in itself is me admitting that I am a follower. Plus, being a leader is hard. You got people looking up to you, expecting you to make decisions. You have to come up with your own ideas. You have to care about what people think, and then you got to deal with the contrarian people like me who are just always wondering why you're making that decision and if you're just doing it for your own self. And there's a lot of challenges that come with the leader. Like, it's not just all about having power and looking good. And I mean, there's just this perceived notion that if a leader is just more successful, which it kind of sounds contrarian when you hear me say it out loud, maybe like, of course leaders are successful. But what is a leader without followers? Like, a leader's not going to be successful without good followers. And a good leader will choose good followers. I didn't really realize that I myself tend to take more of a follower role until I just really thought back on how my role was in like high school and school, just my social role or just like my position in my friend groups. I was never really I wasn't the person probably, and this sounds depressing, but I probably wasn't the person that everyone was waiting on to show up, or like at school, like, oh man, let's wait for him to get here. There's always that one person that everyone is looking forward to see in the friend group, or like, you know, the one that gets the motion set off and everything. I don't think I was ever really that person for any of my friend groups. And I'm not saying this like on some pity party stuff, because I accept that not everyone isn't going to be some well-loved person. Like, that's just not how the world works. So I thought back on it and I realized, because that's what you do when you get over it. If at least in my opinion, if it's a wise thing to do, to self-reflect, think about how things played out in your past and how it's led to your future. Sidebar. But yeah, I realized that I played at best maybe like a second in command role, maybe, I don't know, but I wasn't in too many large friend groups. I might have been in like 2 or 3 big ass friend groups, but the rest have been just like maybe one cool friend that happens to know a bunch of other people. And even now as an adult, I I don't really have like a friend group that I lead, or like I know a bunch of people looking up to me in particular. But um you kind of get forced in certain things to take the lead on in life, because there are certain situations where you like have to be the leader. You have to be your own leader in life. There's certain things like you have to take, if you want to be healthy, you have to lead yourself into eating good. You have to lead yourself into doing exercise. If you want to break bad habits, you have to lead yourself into having good discipline and into better habits. It's funny how everyone is calling each other kings and queens. I get the whole message behind it. It's like it's meant to be positive. It's supposed to be like uplifting one another. But like, I guess I'm kind of a nerd, because I'm like, the majority of people, like 99% of people, if we were in a monarchy, everyone ain't going to be no king or queen. Most of us are going to be peasants. Some of us might be lucky enough to be in the king's court. But like, I just feel like knowing your role is very important. And I don't know. I like I say, I get the sentiment behind calling everyone kings and queens, but like, realistically, a lot of us don't really bring king energy or queen energy, and maybe that's negative, but I don't know. Yeah, that's probably just me just being contrarian to the whole culture of everyone calling each other kings and queens, because a lot of the people who call each other that, they're not really like exhibiting that kind of behavior of a king or a queen like that. It's a regal behavior to it. Well, I mean, there were some bad kings and queens too, so I don't know. I'm just saying that because I don't like the pressure. My main thing is I don't like the pressure that our modern society has on trying to turn everyone to a leader, especially in the capitalist society we live in. They want to try to tell everyone to be a leader, which is really, a lot of the time they want you to think that you're being a leader so you could take initiative and do more than you're supposed to do to get more bang for their buck. A lot of these jobs are telling people to be leaders and stuff, telling everyone to be a leader. They're having whole seminars and they're having whole meetings and gets-togethers and sending them out on vacations to, we want you to be the best leader possible. Like, but everyone in the company can't realistically be a leader. To me, it's a scheme and it's a scam to make you do more than you're being paid to do. And so, like I said, for the corporations to get more bang for their buck. And it's not fair to everyone to be pressured into becoming leaders, like on a mental health tip, because realistically, like, if you're looking at it from a job point of view, which is what the majority of people see things under, the lens of work and jobs and money, like, there's only like one main boss, and then the boss has a few bosses under him usually, or a collective of bosses, which is like very small amount of them compared to the amount of people working underneath them. And in order to be a leader, you have to be able to self-manage, you have to manage others, and you have to maintain like a certain face, just like you have to maintain a reputation. You have to worry about how certain people see you, and not everyone is like mentally equipped or prepared, or like some people you can tell are natural leaders. You can tell, and other people are just, they're kind of like forcing themselves to be a leader because that's what everyone around them has been telling them that they have to be. But that's just not really realistic. There's not as many leader roles for people as they try to make it seem like, and there's not as many people equipped to be leaders as they try to make it seem like. It's like, no, like everyone can't be. It's like I said before, a leader needs more followers than followers. Followers don't need more leaders. And I feel like this whole situation with pushing everyone to be leaders goes hand in hand with this culture of toxic positivity we have going. And to define toxic positivity is basically just like, if you ever see anyone who's like, some people will see someone who's like not exactly like smiling, or just chilling, and or like they might think that they're sad, and they're just basically like enforcing their happiness on everyone, or forcing them to like make sure that they're like, you gotta be positive all the time. You gotta be positive all the time. And that's just not realistic. We're human. We have fluctuations of mood, and it is okay to not be in a good mood sometimes. It's like it's about moderation. You're gonna be happy sometimes. You're gonna be sad sometimes. You can definitely be overly happy, because there ain't that much to be happy about. And our world, everyone has problems. I'm not saying to not be hopeful. I'm just saying we all have problems, and if we want to be able to acknowledge our problems realistically, you can't approach everything with this happy, joyful mood. You gotta like approach some things somberly and thoughtfully, and just with silence. Like, and even though I'm talking now, but you get what I'm saying. I feel like people who are exceptionally positively toxic, or exhibit like toxic positivity the most, are the kind of people who really want to make sure that everyone fits how they see the world to be, or like have everyone play like this fairy tale role in their world, and like they want to be able to be around positivity at all times for their own personal needs. Like, they don't want your bad vibes or whatever, but you can't shape everyone around you like that. That's not realistic, and that's like some egomaniacal stuff. It's dictatorish, because that's how you get yes men. That's what the yes men is, like the ultimate toxic positivity, like being surrounded by a bunch of people who are just going to tell you nothing but yes, even if it's bad for you. That's like the ultimate form of toxic positivity. If you can help it, you definitely want to have people that are open to giving you criticism, or like, checking you, as they say. Maybe not necessarily disrespectfully, but just someone that'll keep you grounded, someone that you can trust to keep you in reality, someone you don't feel like is going to be lying to you, someone that you feel is honest, because honesty doesn't care about positive or negative. Honesty only cares about the truth. And going back to the whole follower thing, followers still have responsibilities. Followers still have challenges. I mean, first off, you got to pick who do you want to follow? Who are you trying to follow? Who are you trying to, you might not, following doesn't mean you want to be like someone. Following means that it's not always about idolizing and, just trying to like take someone else's swag, or like, following is just being a part of a group, and choosing who you want to follow is very important, and it's a challenge. Choosing who you want to be associated with, it's something you got to do. Sometimes you might not even have to actually make a choice. Sometimes you're just born into it. Sometimes you're born into a leader role, or sometimes you're born into a group that you follow, and I feel like that's the case for a lot of people. Like, just not even on like a super deep level, but like, just for example, like if you're born into a family that is strong ties to like freaking a pipe fitters union or something like that, you're probably gonna follow and become a part of that pipe fitters union as well, and you'll be a follower of a union. Like, I'm not, I'm not, I am getting deep with it, but that's just like an example where how you could apply that, like an example of like not necessarily having to be a leader, but in a position where following isn't a bad thing, because I mean, I'm pretty sure pipe fitters get paid pretty good. I'm pretty sure not everyone who's rich or even super rich is necessarily a leader themselves. A lot of rich people are followers. A lot of rich people follow trends. Even billionaires, they follow trends. They're in groups. They just happen to know people. They were probably led themselves into getting getting that position of wealth. And like, don't even, like, there's people who are just born into money as well. Like, that doesn't make them a leader. Just because someone has a lot of money doesn't mean you should be listening to everything they say. That's just like, that's, for some reason, a lot of people believe they should automatically listen to someone because they're rich. Like, you should be following people that align with your views, that align with your vibe, and it should be based on that. It shouldn't be based on what someone has. So yeah, I don't think I could really drag this too much. I feel like I made my point. Basically, don't feel bad if you don't feel like you're a leader. Don't let people pressure you into being a leader. There's a role for everyone, and you will find your place. Don't get pressured into doing things that you don't want to do, especially if it's going to be taxing on your mentals. And being a follower doesn't mean you're not unique. It doesn't mean you're a clone. The same way being a leader doesn't mean you are unique. It goes both ways. So don't feel like being a follower means that you're not your own individual person, because even everyone is unique no matter what role they have. Because I know that's the reason why a lot of people don't want to be seen as a follower, because they don't want to be seen as just like a bland, generic space in humanity. Like, that's not what being a follower means. And being a leader doesn't automatically make you special and different. It's just all of it is just a role at the end of the day. I might be pushing it. Maybe being a leader is unique, because I did mention that a leader is like definitely a rare role. But what I should say is being a leader doesn't make you better than a follower. That's what I should say. It's not about being above or below. It's about your role. And don't feel like you're forced to choose a role, because it'll just naturally happen. Just do what's good, do what you love, and do what comes natural to you, and you'll figure it out. It'll happen. The main thing is just not to feel unnecessarily pressured to do things that are not natural to your tendencies, and that you don't feel like you can handle. Stay blessed.